Hello, hello, hello. This is Mantra and my beautiful guest, Tigra. We are here today. And first, thank you to everyone who has joined and who will see this broadcast. We welcome you. We are in the beautiful space of love and light here in St. Louis, Missouri at 1325 Hampton. It's a wonderful space, as you can see. And today, we're having our very first Table Talk Tuesdays. So, which is a blessing on a beautiful day that for this event. If you're into numerology, today is 11/22/22. So we picked a really good day.
Great day.
The topic of discussion today is the importance of overcoming trauma for success. And my special guest here is Tigra, and I'll let her introduce herself to you and explain who she is and the wonderful gifts that she possesses and what she does with those gifts.
Oh, that's a lot.
Just to start.
My name's Tigra, born and raised in St. Louis. I did move away to Arizona, but I'm back as a result of some traumatic circumstances brought me back. But so I'm very excited to talk about these things because they are important for succeeding in life and profession and career and in every aspect of living. But nonetheless, that was on the so yes, I'm CEO and founder of Tiggy'd Productions, and founder of Kids of Cain, which is a nonprofit. My Tiggy'd Pink was founded based on the need to heal, so it all comes full circle. It's about reconnecting adults with their inner child, which a lot of times we lose, sometimes too early because we grow up too fast or whatnot. But it's all about, that's just another form of healing. That's why I started that company. So that's just one aspect of why I'm here.
Yeah. I want to pause for the cause. I want to make sure our other video is going and make sure that we are clear. Let's see how that goes. Okay, everyone, again, welcome. Take two.
Yes.
This is Mantra Lotus and the beautiful Tigra de la Cruz.
Yes.
We are in this wonderful space of love and light wellness, love and light wellness cuisine. We are here today with our first ever Tuesday table talks. So, and it's something that we're going to do on a regular basis. It's something that I believe that is very needed and necessary for us as a community, and especially in the heightened aspects of growth for all of us.
Yeah.
So, my name is Mantra Lotus. I am the founder and CEO of the Loose Woman Sanctuary, which is an all-women ran women empowerment group. We assist women in overcoming struggles and obstacles that may interfere with life success. We specifically focus on healing certain issues and traumas that may interfere with that success or may interfere with finding life path, for example. We also are a referral and resource network. So we come together with other women businesses such as this wonderful and gorgeous, talented person here. So we come together and we connect and collect our resources to uplift and build each other up.
Yes.
So today I'm going to let Tigra reintroduce herself and what she does.
So I am Tigra. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
Mantra, Leah, owner of Love and Light, co-owner of Love and Light Wellness Cuisine. We've always talked about this, the importance of Mantra's work and the importance of what Leah's doing, the importance of what I'm doing. It's like for us to come together under one common goal, because a lot of times people don't even realize where their struggles are. It's like sometimes you can feel something's missing or something, but I don't really know what it is, or where do I start, or I just need to get over it, or whatever, pray it out. Like, just knowing that there are resources out here to help, that people are listening. This day and age, there's a lot of there are gonna be some trigger warnings as well. I meant to say that. So trigger warnings for different types of trauma. So I know in this day and age, even starting with our young children, trigger warning suicide. It's high. It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
So just knowing that, yes, Black people do seek help. We need it. We seek it. Yes, faith is important. But God gave us counselors and these other ways to get help, to seek help, other ways to help us. So thank you again for having me, and for being a safe haven for women. And yes, thank you.
This is us. This is who we are.
Yes,
and to the introduction, with this introduction of our Tuesday Table Talk Tuesdays, I want it to be something that we can relax and be comfortable with who we are, and recognize that our past, though it is our past, and though we may share similar scars and histories and stories and sad love songs, it's a part of who we are to an extent, but it does not justify nor define us. And for us to come together in the space where it's necessary for us to be, within the place, whatever moment we're in, whatever it is that we're going into our lives, to express that we are human, we are vulnerable, we have a past, but we also have such a strong lust for life and such a divine purpose with where we are. And how the universe brings that together is just magical. And, and I know you believe, and I believe, it's like nothing happens, for no particular reason.
Right. I don't believe in coincidence.
And no, it's not coincidence. It's always divinely and purposefully driven. Mm-hmm. And so when we connected years ago, and there's this thing I say with sisters and with sisterhoods and brotherhood for that matter, anytime we share a commonality, a secret, a hidden secret that we don't vocalize or have to speak literally, it's like we automatically know. Our heartstrings automatically connect to what that is, and we look out for each other, we stand up for each other, we know how to comfort each other, we know how to hold and guide and strengthen one another. But there are times when it is so necessary and so important, for the sake of our spiritual growth, our physical growth, for a complete abundance and manifestation of our dreams and wishes to come into reality, that you got to strip things off. Sometimes you have to be vulnerable and say, look, this is who it is. You can say what you want, you can feel how you feel about it, but this is who I am. This is my song. This is what I believe in, and this is my walk. So our topic of the day for today is the importance of overcoming trauma for success. How do you feel your past has caused a couple hiccups, or caused boundaries, or even made your journey more interesting, or giving you that story to tell? Right. Yeah.
For me personally, I've overcome a lot of quote unquote trauma, so I won't really go through everything, and everyone goes through things, right? So, but the most recent, the most profound in my life, was the passing of my parents. Suddenly, unexpectedly, my mom in August of 2017. Literally had just talked to her 20 minutes before I got a call. My dad, May of 2018. So, 8 months apart. Again, so my life turned topsy-turvy. I basically, if anyone knows Tigra, I am the glass half full, rainbows and unicorns, rose-tinted glasses, pretty much always happy and dancing around, eating good food,
Always, yes.
And it's like, honestly, I mean, I never really knew what stress or anxiety. I never felt any of that. I always felt, pretty, privileged, blessed. I felt blessed. So just think, go in as an empath, an involved empath or evolved empath, as they say, feeling everything. So when you see me happy, the birds are singing, it's making me happy, things like that. To go from feeling everything to feeling nothing. Because the world did not exist as I knew it anymore. I was in a world that I did not know, I did not understand, I did not speak the language. And like the sun rising in the sky felt like a betrayal. So going from feeling everything light and happiness to this dark shell, Walking Dead of a person, of what I was, I lost all sense of me. And I remember driving, I was in Wisconsin on business, and driving back down after getting that call that night, and something, like I almost passed out at the wheel.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. I did not know what that was. Later, I was told it was a panic attack. I had no idea. I did not know what stress anxiety was. So going through that, months of darkness, people were worried about me. People just, in situations like that, people don't know what to think. They're just watching you. They're waiting for you to break down and something. And I just, there was nothing. I was just stuck in a place. So that was when my world turned upside down. That was the biggest, one of the biggest traumatic experiences of my life.
So would you say, did you feel abandoned? Did you feel, I know sometimes with grief and suffering, you hear of the stages of grief.
Yes.
But I think sometimes we don't necessarily discuss other feelings of internal, feelings. Sometimes we feel, in a sense, abandoned, because we're left with, like you said, another aspect of reality of who we are. You have to question and define, what you thought you were before. Now you're something different, And also sometimes I think we can feel a little bit of responsibility for the loss of our loved ones, and feel like, oh, I should have been there, or if I had done this, or if I had, called when something told me to call, or, been there, or why did I leave, just other, things. And then we kind of build on that pain, and it's, in a sense, it may not necessarily be the reality of what is true, but it's the reality of what we created with that grief.
It is. There was a accumulation of things that occurred after that. Me being my mom's only child, and Dad came along later. He was not my biological father, but he was my father to me. So just growing up with just my mom, it's just you and her for the longest, right? So losing her, like, of course, the holidays, horrible.
And we're here. Yeah.
We are here. This time of year is always rough. I was telling somebody, it's like Christmas is just one of the biggest. It was always about giving. It was always about seeing the light. But anyway.
Yeah.
So things like that. My birthday came around, and I that was even worse because small things just make you realize that no one will ever love you like your mom.
Oh, yeah.
Like ever. People love you. My children love me. Friends. Family. but no one loves you like your mom. So it'll be little things. It'll be like, I can't remember if it was that birthday or whatever. Some people may have forgotten, but it was just small things. So, and then she and I, being that we were always together, both Tauruses, she's a May Taurus, I'm an April, button heads. So, we always had our differences and everything. And, I may not have always been the nicest. So, yes, to answer your question, some guilt. Because I know, as we get older, I find it myself doing it to my children, asking about, things. And she would do that, and I would just kind of brush her off. So, yes, there was a lot of guilt. Guilt, and I don't know if it was so much abandonment. I was angry at God. Very angry. She was a very strong woman of faith. I found actual journals where she was, up until the very end, just like adamant, that God was going to heal her and get her through, whatever was going on. So, and that everything was going to be. So there was a lot of anger at God, disappointment, that this woman of faith. It was just a myriad of emotions, right? And I was lost. I felt lost in this world, and I tried to be strong. People, they didn't see me cry because I'm trying to be strong for my children.
What do you think? In the space of being strong, and still trying to maintain not only, that perceived identity, so trying to maintain that perceived identity and the view that you have given other people, and your children, how did that interfere with the healing process? Or did it interfere with the healing process?
Completely, because not only that, there were other things going on, and I did not have time to grieve because I'm too busy pursuing these other things that I'm focused on, right? Focused on being who I needed to be for these people, right? The family, focused on need to be strong, focusing on all these other things, and there was no time to grieve. So 100%, right? It thwarted that that healing process, So, and to be honest, it really took a long time, and it took a lot of mistakes. Like, I would think I was healed, and that's the biggest mistake that I've made when it comes to healing. I think that it's like a one and done. You flip a switch, oh, this is going to work for me, and it's done. But it's an ongoing process. It's like, for some people, I guess, and it depends on what it is. But you're constant, because I get triggers. Yeah. A song could be a trigger. I was rear-ended in that car accident last month, and something like that triggered me because Dad, it was a result of an accident, car accident. So it's just like, you think you're okay, and then these triggers, like, wait a minute. So it's a constant, I wouldn't say struggle, but process. And so I did make mistakes. And along the way, my main one was that blackness that I was in, that zombie mode. I would say someone brought me out of that, but then that became a crutch. I became codependent on that someone because they brought me back to life, right? So to speak. Because they brought me out of that darkness. And so I was codependent on them, and that's the wrong answer, right? And they didn't ask for that. They didn't want that. It was just, so when that person began to detach, then I'm in the same predicament.
Back at it.
I'm in the same rock bottom again. Yeah. And major depression. Didn't want to be here anymore. I did seek help. Went to seek counseling and everything. The medicine did not work for me. It had the worst effect. Literally, I was telling somebody I was on business in Minnesota right after they prescribed the medicines, right? Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. I think they have more. Every lake was calling my name. Oh, like every lake was like, come, and I can't swim.
Right. So. I can't either. So we share that too. I cannot swim, and I'm not mad about it. You won't be able to get me in no water. It's not happening.
Right. So, Yeah, I was just tired of life. I was tired of the pain.
Yeah.
I love life, in general, but it's just like it just felt um in that space it was more like, you just want the suffering to end. That's all it is, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, that's not the answer. So I went back, and I just happened to have be blessed with a good um, counselor and psychiatrist, and they took me off of that. And but between my sister, I have a baby sister in Oakland, in Costa Zana. Between her and thank you, and guidance from my counselor, who's very open to like healing and crystals and things like that. And she was also telling me like ways to block energies, because as an empath, I have all the energies on me as well.
And you're picking up everybody else's.
I'm picking up
right.
everyone else's, and she's like, I cannot tell you how to block it, but you need to find a way to block it. So and then my sister, I brought my baby sister because she introduced me to, I don't know if she mentioned it, I believe it was her, Qigong. So that was a form of meditation that I began. So it was
beautiful.
A culmination of,
right. Beautiful.
of, and like I said, nothing is coincidence. I just happened to find a counselor who, a therapist, who believed in, healing, healing, right? And my sister just happened to mention this, and it just happened to speak to me. And Brother Shaolin, Brother Insight at the Shaolin Temple, that's who I use for Qigong. But in his spirit, his aura is so light and so beautiful and so peaceful. And it was, God sent me what I needed. So now every morning I had to do my meditations, with my and I added my own affirmations to the Qigong movement. And, again, it brought me back though. It brought me back on the right track. But again, with the triggers, I've learned that, hey, you don't think it's a one and done. It's not,
right. Right.
You're
and
consistently.
Yeah,
right.
well, I think that's necessary too for us to understand that you don't have to be okay. You don't have to be all right. We don't have to pretend that everything is fine. I'm happy. Oh, I'm good. How?
I know.
So it's okay. And understanding that there's a process.
Yeah.
There's everything of what you're feeling, or even like not wanting to be here.
Yeah.
That's the reality of grief. That's the reality of trauma, of questioning, is this, too much for me? Is this something that I can continue to wake up, the next day to?
Yes.
Will I be able to overcome this? Yes. Will I be able to, to win this particular race? Because right now I don't feel it.
It's so dark in that moment. You don't see it.
You
don't see the light.
You don't. But we don't have enough discussions in saying, look, where you are, I've been. Where you are, I've been. I know somebody who's going through that. And it's important to say, we don't have to keep this, this fake stuff going, all the time. We are who we are. And these journeys make us even more, magnificent in our being. It makes us appreciate and recognize just how valuable life is. To even sometimes feel that pain. Not to say we don't want it.
Right.
I don't wish to have it. But, knowing that and understanding that when you lose someone, the grief and trauma of that, not only, having that within you, but also how it impacts everything else around you. Sometimes we're not necessarily mindful and conscious of that. As you're shutting down every dream, every vision of yours, every aspiration is shutting down too. The light is dim too. So the joy, the unicorns, the balloons, the the bubble guns that we see. It's like, where the bubbles go?
I know.
And that is the part that we need to feed one another. So I want to make sure that we're clear and making sure that we're solution based as well. So during your healing and overcoming that particular trauma, you utilize other necessary tools that helped you, and what worked for you worked for you.
Yes.
You know, and there are other aspects. There's a variety of things that can help. You know, in a variety of ways that we can confide in one another. We can seek help. We can seek therapy. We can, you know, seek alternative methods of meditation, of spirituality, of tapping into other aspects of who we are. I know for me, you know, particularly meditation has been monumental. So, and especially during this time of holidays, when we're talking about trauma, when we're speaking on grief and storytelling and surviving, I think it's important to note that, you know, we are just as important as our loved ones. And though unseen, that does not mean that they are not existing. You know, I know.
It's like I mean, people say it. Your elders would say it, but you don't really realize until you get there that yes, these funerals, these things are for the living. It's like, you know, they're, you know, watching you. They want you to be happy, you know, but it's like it's you know, in a way, I guess it's selfish, or not selfish, but it's more about, it's like me. It's like I want my mom, right? I want my parents back. I want that life back.
And that's genuine. Yeah. It's okay to be selfish. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay to want those. You know, I mean, to speak on it, I think one of the most traumatic things to date for me was the loss of my twin sister. Right. So that was 2 years ago in 2020. So and I can remember, and it's deliberate. The reason why we're doing this live on Facebook, because sometimes when memories pop up for me on Facebook and I see certain things in it, you know, those can be triggers. Yes. You know, those things can be triggers. But I remember I think it was the day after she passed, and one of the posts that I wrote was, she left me. She left me alone. We came in the world together, and she left me. So bringing that back, you know, and just the emotional distress, you know, the emotional journey of trying to figure out what steps go next. You know, how do I live a different life? Yeah. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like you're living something totally different.
Yeah, it's not the same world.
It's not. Even my, you know, my thought of who I was, my name, my process of, you know, of everything. We came in the world together. You know, we shared this particular day. And I remember in defiance, my thought was, well, maybe you could just change your birthday. And it's like, girl, are you for real? How you gonna do that one? I heard of legally changing your name, but can you legally change your birthday? And seriously, why? You know, seriously, why?
But disassociate from that day.
Exactly. Yes. But realizing, no.
There's no escape.
There's no escape. You have to face this head on. You have to deal with it. You have to wallow. You have to cry. You have to become gutter and dirty. And God knows, I became gutter and dirty because I was trying to figure out my placement in this world, that where I thought I belonged, it changed. It changed, and it did not reflect what I saw, you know. So learning how to rejuvenate, revitalize, transform, rename, redefine, and understand your individual and unique walk and who you are is just you. And that's freaking scary. You know, it's so frightening to realize, like, I'm really doing this by myself. I'm really doing this by myself. Yet, it gives us so much armor. It allows us to see just how powerful we are. You're so strong. You know, you have this leadership, these wonderful, marvelous qualities in you that is unlike anything else. You know, and it's undefined except for being who you are. it's Tigra. You know, that's it. And that is just so monumental, you know, in this path to healing, you know.
But like you say, it's almost like, you know, you get buried in that grief, and it's someone recently told me, it's like, you know, astrology and then the houses and all of that, and it just came up, and she was like, all the eighth houses I've seen, like thousands, the Phoenix finally, it came up for me.
Wow.
And she was like, I've never even said it before, but this is what it represents for you. And if that isn't the epitome of what I felt like,
wow,
rising from the literal ashes, you
wow.
know, and when I think about it in retrospect, the things that I've kicked off, like Tiggy'd Pink, Kids of Cain, those things were established back in 2009. Just sitting there, I was so comfortable with where I was. There was no edge, there was no push or extra drive. It was like, you know, I'll do something here and there with it. But being in this new world, completely different from that comfortable world with my parents in it, I mean, it was like, it thrust me into this. Like, my mom would always push me, right? So now I felt like, okay, now I have to honor her, because, and then it's funny, my grandmother used to say all the time when I was little, you have these talents, because like I do music too. So right,
I didn't know.
Yeah,
so.
see, right? So she was like, what she said, God gave you talents. It is, she didn't say disrespect, but that was essentially what she was saying. It is, you dishonor him if you do not use the talents that he gave you. You have to share them with the world. So I felt like between my grandmother, whom I was very, very close to, and my mom, though, and you hate that something that traumatic has to come, but that's what made me be more active and just really push off these projects.
Right.
I'd be still sitting on them.
Right. I think for me too, it you know, it's one of those things where you realize that, and especially I think during COVID, you know, too, when we had so much loss and so much trauma, and I know I lost a lot of family members, and watched continuously, you know, other friends and, you know, and people of my dear close people just pass. You know, I realized that life is impermanent, though it's impermanent. But also, I'm like, wow, everybody going on the other side. What y'all going on the other side for? So it made me think, like, you know what? Maybe we got work on this side to do, because our army is building. You know, these spiritual warriors, our spiritual teachers, and everybody was leaving to go somewhere else. So I viewed it as coming to help me. You know. And so for the sake of building and being who it is, you know, allowing those things, those wishes and dreams that we put out there to manifest, you know, is utilizing our now ancestors to help us along that path. You know, knowing that, you know, I stand on your breath. I breathe the air that you have breathed into me. You know, that, you know, knowing that the legacy that your mother had for you, you know, now you have that same vision and you can take those steps, not just for you, but also for her. You know, and for me, it's like, okay, every year now for our birthday, whenever our birthday comes along, it's like, it's a special day. You know, I'm doing this. I'm not only fulfilling the dreams and wishes that I have for myself, but I'm fulfilling the dreams and wishes that I have for my sister, that my sister had for her children, you know, that her children had for her, and that she had for me. You know, it's like a continuous walk in vision that is so glorious, you know, so magnificently beautiful. You know, and to be able to have that complete vision and wholeness after a trauma, you know, to see that birth take place, it's just, you know, it is. When you get up in the morning, you know, when you're able to get up in the morning and take that breath, like, wow, you know, I remember when, you know, man, I didn't even, you know, it's just like, not, oh my gosh, yes. So
yeah, and it's so important, like you said, just for people to realize, it's like, hey, if you try one way and it's not working, there's so many other ways. if you do seek therapy, the one therapist doesn't work. I went to one. That person didn't work. The next person just happened to. So it's just like, don't give up. Just,
Don't.
keep pushing, keep trying until something feeds your soul.
Right. Right.
But that's what I had to do.
I would love, as we're closing, I would love to hear the affirmations that you set for yourself.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, as I stated, I started Qigong and I haven't stopped. So what I did, Qigong is all about moving energy, the Qi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with Brother Insight's Qigong movements, I added affirmations just to fortify, right, the strength. So I've never written anything down. It's always, in my head, so I will just have to do it like I'm doing my Qigong. Okay, so I inhale, accept, and attract love, true love, light, happiness, peace, positivity, patience, the power within me, prosperity in all of my thoughts, actions, words, strength and confidence in every aspect of my life, excellence in every aspect of my life, excellent healthy health, now, always, and forevermore with longevity and quality life years, wealth and prosperity and total abundance, exceeding abundantly with harm to none. So mote it be. I release, repel, reject, denounce, exhale, and rebuke all negativity, darkness, sadness, depression, weakness, insecurities, impatience, doubt, self-doubt, hate, self-hate, anger, rage, resentment, jealousy, envy. It is all far from me, and I'm free of it all. I release all the pain, all the hurt, all regret and guilt, dwelling in the past and fixation over things that I cannot control. I release it all. I release all the fear, anxiety, stress, and toxicity from my life, from around me, and from within me. It is far from me, and I am free of it. Ashe.
Thank you guys for joining us, and after the live I'll go over any questions or any comments that somebody may have left during this, and we'll see you next Tuesday. So, thank you. How do we X this? Oh, it's right there. And I think we're still we're figuring it out. That's what we do. Okay, that was awesome. And there we go. I'm trying to end it. It doesn't want to go.
It wants us to stay with you
forever.